Hi friends, hope this finds you well today. My name is Amber from Mountain Knit Creations, and myself, Trisha, and our friend Wendy are doing this collab together. We each received the bead mix called Sweater Weather from Jesse James Beads, and this is the Cozy Up. So we're each making a different project, and we're all tagging each other and connecting each other. So make sure you look in the description and find the links to Trisha and Wendy's YouTube pages and different things so you could see what they make with the same kit. So each of us are just showing off our creativity and sharing with each other. And we're super excited to share that with you. So today I am going to show you how to use the new Wisdom Warrior. This is a loom created by Jules over at Jewel Loom, and she's just a beauty, just amazingly beautiful. And we're gonna make a choker with her. So let's go down to the table and get started. Hey friends, so as I said, this loom in particular doesn't totally fit in the whole screen, but we will try our best here. Yeah, so here's our bead mix in Sweater Weather, and I am going to be using these 8/0s as a base, and for me, my neck is about 13 inches long, so I will have to measure that out on here. So we start off, I'm gonna do the outside as leather. The warp, I'm gonna warp with leather here. Okay, so leave a whole bunch of extra at the end so I have extra to tie off with and everything. And so I come all the way down. Now with this leather, it's about 1.5, and it doesn't fit totally in the grooves, but as you can see, it does hold its spot, and I can lay it on top. So then I come all the way down to the other end here and wrap it around, lay it in a groove. Now with 8/0s, I need, getting more leather here. It's hard to show this whole loom. I need to put, there's notches on here, so I need to put about a space, at least 1 or 2 notches in between each piece of leather. So now I'm gonna tie this off down here. Let me go turn this around so you can possibly see what I'm doing. I'll at least go under the warps to get a knot. I should have given myself a little more leather. Go back and we'll do that. You want to try and pull the warps as tight as you can, but you need to be careful because leather can break easily too if you pull too tight. So, of course, that pulled everything off. So I'm just going to go back and fix it. And then I'll do another knot here. Because it just lays on top, it doesn't, it's not as snug to stay in place. So there we go. Got my 2 knots. And she's a little loose. Try and tighten her up a little. Best I can. There we go. So I'm just tightening the knots on each end a little. See if that gives us a little more oomph. I'm retying this top one a little. All right. So there we go. So there she is. Gonna get myself a Jewel Loom needle. And I'm going to use, I think, this grayish tan wildfire. So I'm going to get about 2 arm spans or wing spans, so to speak. So that's from hand to hand. And then, as I said, these cutters are extremely sharp and they work really well with wildfire. Like, I love them. Okay, so needle trick. I have some needle nose pliers and I just come to the tip of the wildfire and I press it down and it makes it flat like that. And I find the hole, I line it up, and that flat part makes it real easy to thread my needle. So I do a nice long tail on my needle there. And now I am, hopefully you guys can see me up here. Yep. Going to tie off somewhere around here so that gives me room. Because the knob is so close, I need to come down a good distance so I have some leather to work with at the end when I close it off. So I'm gonna knot it to my leather here. So if you've ever worked with the original Jewel Loom, I'm not gonna need my sweater weather until the second phase of this project. So I'm gonna just get this out of the way. There we go. But I will be needing, I do need these. So my 80 seed beads is all I need right now. I'll get more. So I'm only doing 2 rows on this. So I did 3 warps, but it's just gonna be 2 rows across. So it's 1 less row. I think I made it too big. So you know what? I'm gonna put 2 in each one because I made it too big. And that's fine, that's part of the process. Sometimes I could go back and rewarp it, or I can just kind of go with the flow here. So I put my beads on my needle over here. I take my needle underneath the warps and I line up the 2 beads in each side and I hold them in place and pull my string through. Of course, my hand's right in the middle of that. I try not to do that. I try to make sure my hand's in the right place. Another way is you could just pull it up like this. The first one's the hardest to do, is getting everything established. And after that, it does get easier. So then with my one hand, I hold everything up and I'm gonna take my needle and go over the top of the warps now. So if I take my ruler, just to give you an idea, 12 inches is to about there. So 1 more inch. I'm gonna go to about the bottom of this piece of hair with my beading. It's just a starting estimate. Hopefully you guys can see everything fine still. So I need to pick up 4 seed beads. And I take those 4 and I place them underneath. I like to do it this way. Some people pull the thread through first. Everybody does it different. I like to hold them in place. I don't know why. That's just my preference. And then I pull the cord through. And they're there. And now I need to go over top of the warp and through all. Making sure I'm on top of all the warps and through all the beads, or you will know right away the beads will fall out. So picking up 4. Everybody does which hand they do differently. I use both of my hands. Some people just use their right. I like to do this Wisdom Warrior on my lap actually, but that would be really difficult to film. She really works well on my lap. I can move her around and get to her just a little bit easier than on a table, but everybody has their preference. So I still like to hold them even when I'm going through the other side. So for the next 13 inches, this is what I'll do. So I will leave you guys to it. So I'll do 13 inches of that. That will take a long time on video. So I'm going to come back in a little bit once I've got all 13 inches down. Almost done. So pretty much just the same all the way down. So we're almost at 12 inches, as you can see. And I want to go to just about 13. So about here. A little bit more to go. So the loom I'm using is exclusively only available at this time at Jewel Loom. But Jesse James does sell the original Jewel Loom. So you can definitely do a bracelet form of this necklace on the original Jewel Loom. They have the seed beads, they have leather, so everything that you're seeing me use except for the Wisdom Warrior loom, except for the large loom, can be found at jessijamesbeads.com. Maybe not this exact color of seed bead, but definitely something possibly similar. You just keep going. 4 seed beads, 2 in each side. Underneath the warp, pull the wildfire through. They have wildfire and seed beads and leather. All of this available at Jesse James. You can use my affiliate link found in the bottom, found in the description to purchase. This particular color seed bead I got at Blue Santa Beads, but they have all kinds of seed beads at Jesse James. All kinds of beads, beautiful bead packs. And one of them being what we're using today, the sweater weather. So make sure you head over to both Trisha and Wendy to view what they've made with their bead mix. So we have, that's to 12 inches. So we have about 13 inches now. So I think my neck is 15, so 13 works out well in doing the whole thing. So here you go. You can see a whole kit and caboodle now. And so now we're gonna work back up to the middle. So if we have 13 inches, 6.5, here we go, is the exact middle. So I like to mark that. I find something to stick in there so I know where my middle is. This is just an eye pin. You can do a needle. So somewhere that's about, that's 6 inches, helps if I get in the right spot. So this is about halfway. So I like to spread out my magic carpet stitching, is one way it's called, about 2 inches on either side of the center. So we've got 1 inch, 2 inch. So I won't start the magic carpet stitching till about here. So what I do now is I come back down to the bottom and I'm going to reinforce my piece. Now with leather, this is not necessary. It's pretty strong, but I like to do this especially with the magic carpet pieces. It just gives it more stability and the hopes that those pieces don't fall apart. So you follow, the idea is you follow the stitch where you were doing it before. So from the left side going right, you go underneath. So you're gonna go through the seed beads again, and you're gonna go underneath the warp. So underneath all of the leather and through the seed beads, just like you're warping it. But I don't need to come back up and go through the top of those 4 seed beads. What I do is I move up to the next row and go through the top of those 4. So reinforcing is just going through the beads 1 more time, not 2. So once again, the next row, move up, and I just follow the same pattern I was doing before. Making sure when I come in from the left, I go under. When I come in, and watch your fingers, you don't poke yourself. From the right, I go over top. Now with leather, it's harder to get it, the warp super taut, which is fine. But it makes this process a little easier because I can kind of turn it. So when I'm going underneath, I can see what I'm doing. So underneath from the left, and over top from the right, all the way up to here. So just gonna keep on going, and we'll be back in a moment. All right. So we've made it all the way up and reinforcing up to 2 inches from our center. So I'm going to clean up the base seed beads, which were 8/0s. I like 8/0s. They're still a little on the smaller side, but there's enough room to pass through them a couple times with your needle and thread. And now we're going to move on to, I think these are 11s, either 11 or 15s. So we're going to use those along with, yay, here it comes. Here we come. So what we're doing for our collaboration is the Sweater Weather Bead Collection Cozy Up. Isn't that sticker just so cool? So I'm gonna measure out again where the center is now that we're here, because I'm gonna use one of these fun, cozy poofs, furry poofs. I want that to be the focal in the center. Another thing that could be this. Actually, that might be cool too. I don't know. No, I think I still want to do the poof. So, so the next step is building our magic carpet up. So we can use 11 O's or 15 O's, all available at Jesse James. And I like to get a nice big bead pack to make my magic carpets. And I actually don't have, other than what I want to put in the center, the rest of my piece, I kind of I design on the fly. I just like doing that. I'm not, the only other thing I try to do is you'll see, I will do 6 and 6 seed beads and then a larger bead. And then in this row, I'll do 8 larger bead and 8. So, but they'll start out small and get bigger towards the middle. So that's kind of how it works. So I'm going to take my ruler, since we're all set for the next row. Make sure my string is not all tangled up. The next row to be, or the next marking to be the center. So if you remember, the center is 2 inches away from here. So I'm just gonna take my eye pin. You can do a needle, you can do an eye pin, whatever marker you wanna use, and go in 2 inches. And then when I get there, after I do that, I will mark it off for another 2 inches. So we're on the right side. It doesn't matter if you're on the right or left, just to remember what you're doing in that place. So we're gonna start out, we're gonna come in, I'm gonna go through the first seed bead, and then we're gonna pick up 4 smalls, okay? And then I think what I want to do is I want to continue using these actually. So these are gonna go all the way across the bottom. All the loops, that's another term for the magic carpet, the loops. So we're making a loop here. So I pick up 1 and then 4. Make sure we're okay on camera. Can you see my hands okay? I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I like to pull them all the way down. And then I'm gonna go through the next seed bead and come up next to the leather. And give it a good, so it makes a little tiny loop. Next is gonna be a bigger loop. So I'm gonna take 6 seed beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And take one of the larger beads from my Jesse James beads mix here, from the Sweater Weather Cozy Up collection. Slide that on, and then I pick up another of the off-white small seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, picked up 1 too many. And same thing, just pulling them all down. So if you can see this, so it's coming up through the seed bead. I'm gonna go over the leather and go in and through the next seed bead. So virtually each row we're gonna make 3 loops. and they're going to increase in size as they come up. So the next one will be 8. 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. So this will be for this row, the largest of the beads, but maybe not as big as some of the other ones. So let's see, what do I want to use? I'll use one of these cute little golds. I might go right over the seed beads. Let's see. I might have to add in, oh, no, we're good. And then, see, oops. Hold on, my son just got home from school, excuse me. Okay. So, we picked up the 8 little seed beads, and now, and I picked up this gold one, and now 8 more little seed beads. Pull it all down. You see, okay, so we're down there. We're coming out of this seed bead, and now I'm going to go into the next seed bead, and I'm going to come out. Make sure you guys can see. Come out the bottom. So before I put more seed beads on, I'm going to come back through the top this time because I came out the bottom, and make sure I'm on the next row of seed beads. And I'm going to repeat the pattern back down. So 8 and 8, 6 and 6, 4 and 4 with a bead in the middle, special bead in the middle. And now the last one is 4. And then the brownish purple and another 4. And go through see that? Go through the last seed bead. So always making sure that you're switching up. So like you don't have to worry, like what I mean by switching up. So see my threads on the bottom. So I just want to make sure the next seed bead I go through, I come in through the top. So you don't have to worry about under and over as much up here when you're doing this part, other than if I'm under, I don't want to go under. So if I'm under, I want to go over. So now I'm going to pick up 4. Everybody has different ways. I find using the needle to pick up my 4 is much easier than picking it up by my hand. Once again, go into the next seed bead. And this time, I'm going to go over the leather after I get my 6. my 2 groups of 6. And find my wooden bead here. Over the leather and through the next seed bead. Hopefully you can see that okay. And you just keep repeating that pattern. 4, 6, 8. And 1 seed bead, and into the next one, right next to it. There's a mixed in bead, that's not the right one. I got my 8. Now I gotta figure out what next bead I want. I'm gonna move up in the metal department and do this little flowery guy. So I'm slowly just increasing these in size on the bottom as I go along. So we're coming out that seed bead and the seed bead right next to it. So it's a little tight turn. Get in there and come out the side, or I can come out the bottom like that, either one. Just make sure when you come back into the next row, you do the opposite. So since I'm coming out the bottom, I'm gonna go in through the top. It just helps lock the string in better, the beading material. All right, so same pattern, 8, 6, and 4. And then you just keep going all the way up to here to the middle, and then 2 inches this direction.
I love these little guys, these little knots. I'm just finding the hole. It's a little more difficult. So I'm going to do one of these little knot guys. So remember, we're only in the first seed bead. We're going to go right next to it. It'll feel awkward. Into the next seed bead. Go over the leather and through. It gets tight in there, so you push the other seed beads to the side. Make sure you just go through one, over the leather, and through the next seed bead. 4 and 4 in the purplish, grayish seed bead. And then you just keep on going like this until you reach the middle, remember? Now it's coming out the bottom, so I go through the top. So do the opposite. So I will keep on working up here until I get to the middle and then rejoin you.
All right, so we're getting to a point where I need to add on more thread. It's just too hard to manipulate getting through all the beads and everything. Really enjoy the Wildfire. You can find that in the Jesse James shop, jessejamesbeads.com. I like to go really long, so I don't have to replace it many times, but if you're a beginner, I would suggest going shorter. So a trick to getting it through the needle is taking some needle nose pliers, flattening the end. I think I shared this in the beginning of the video. And then it makes it nice and flat and goes through the needle much easier. Well, it's supposed to. There we go. If I can get it in the right spot. Okay. So as you see, we've made progress here. Now the magic carpet does get heavy. So that's kind of why it's leaning that way. This type of beading, there's all of those delicious yumminess on there. So here's my string I just ended with. I'm gonna go in through the top on the other, like in the next row, and just pull down until I have a tail. Oops, pulled too far. Not mean to pull that far. So similar length tail, and then I just knot them, and I come back later on and I trim them up and add a little hypo cement or E6000 glue. But I might trim them a little now so they're out of my way. These are my favorite cutters in the world. Send me a message if you'd like to know where to get them. Love them. Love them, love them. I need some more of the tan beads here. Or the off-white, I should say. I'm on the 4 and 4. Larger seed bead. It's just a continuation of what I was doing before. I did pull out some that I'd like to make earrings or something with, so I'm trying to limit myself so I can use some of these awesome beads for other projects. Figure out what am I doing. Yeah, so working with long can be difficult. to my bead soup, see if I have anything that can help. Oh yeah, there's a couple things in there I might be able to use. Some of my bead soup, I think I have other bead soup somewhere. But I think I'll add in some of these check glass beads too. So we are on the 8. It's our water. Won't be stuck. All right, so that's supposed put in an extra 4. It's actually supposed to be the 6, but that big bead I just put on, it'll be okay. It'll kind of cover it up right there. So this is all bead soup of other Jesse James bead mixes. So, oops, I put the wrong seed beads on. Can you see that? All right, so that helps you guys see how to take the seed beads off. So I like to get them all close together and then stick the needle, if I can, all the way back through. Ah, silly me. Oh, I missed one. Mistakes happen. Keep going. Thought it looked different. always, when you have a long one, you just got to be careful it doesn't get caught. All right, so we're in the middle here, or within an inch, within a eighth of an inch or so. Not perfect, but so I'm gonna go ahead and put my main focal. So that's what this row will be. I'm actually gonna do 10. So it'll hang down a little more instead of 8. You just have to be careful when you bend in the needle like that a little bit that you don't break it. So the rest of the necklace all the way down is the same. You do the same thing. The 3 different size loops going in each seed bead of the row. So you need to have 4 seed beads across if you want 3 loops. If you have 3 seed beads across, oops, you only get 2 loops. All right, I am going to finish this out and then come back. All right, friends, I finished up the middle here, and then I went through and reinforced all the way back down to the end. So I'm going to take those ends down here and just tie them off. It's time for us to take this beauty off the loom. You ready? All right, so it's knotted on both ends. So I find the knot and I kind of, with leather, it's fairly easy to wiggle it free because it's new leather, so it's still a little stiff. I like to unknot things. You can also cut them, whatever serves you best. Some people just cut. I like to unknot if I can. If I can't, then I cut. Sometimes I get in there with my pliers to get it all off. Looks like I need to untie the other end before I can get that end off. The reason I do that is so I can save as much for finishing my piece off as possible. Looks like got each other looped on there. Huh? All right, I'm gonna have to cut one of them, and that's okay. All right, now we can get off. We're off of our loom. Look at that. Look at all that yummy goodness. All right, we'll get our loom out of the way here. Now, the last thing we need to do is to figure out how to finish it off. I have to cut this end off anyways over here. So the whole piece should be about 13 inches, and then my neck's about 15. So this end's longer, so I'm gonna leave this. We're gonna use a button. I'm gonna put the button on this, on this side, and we'll knot on this side. All right, so we're gonna put our button on here. And I like to try and have a knot down here, if possible, between the piece and the button. So we'll just do one overhand knot maybe. And then, I don't know, I'll do 2 because I'll just wrap this one piece around because those are short. There we go. Yeah, I like that better. I might use these 2 to tie my knot on. I saw this button and I thought it went really well with this piece. What do you think? So I'm just tie another knot here. And now our button's attached. big hunkin' button, but it's a heavy necklace, so I think that'll be good. And I might just wrap this one around down here one more time before I trim. Trim, trim, trim. You can always use pliers to help pull the knot tighter if you need. Those trimmers are extremely sharp. That's why I always put the cover back on. So just do another knot close to the piece here, just like I did on the other side. And then my next knot will be a little further away, so that, well, a little bigger so that the button can fit through. So kind of line it up like that, just kind of see how much space I need for a button. I can fit through like so. And there she is. I'm not going to trim this yet because I'm going to try it on first. Okay, so now we are going to try it on. A little snug on me, so, but here's the choker. And there you have it. So I can trim up those other pieces of leather. Yeah, and voila, we have made a choker with Jesse James beads. This was the Sweater Weather Bead Collection Cozy Up. Make sure you go check out Trish and Wendy, their posts on what they made with this. And thanks for joining us today. Oh, and the last thing I would do is add a little bit of glue to all the knots and stuff. But yeah, other than that, voila, we're done. Thanks for joining me.